All right. So, for those of you who are still staying in distance learning, or if we are still in distance learning, this is work. I'm recording this a week ahead of time. We'll see how things change up. I assume we'll all be back in the classroom in the following week. Basically, what we're going to start doing is kind of changing up since most of us are in the classroom, allowing several weeks, usually no more than 2 to be open. So, if you notice here, this week you will find this folder. Obviously you should have clicked into this at this point. And what I'm going to start doing is putting together the 2 weeks. All right. And basically what I'm going to start doing is doing units at 2 weeks notice. So we're going to do kind of the end of the Great Depression, World War II, the Cold War, and then we'll get into social movements and civil rights, which will take us just about to the end of the school year. So I'm just going to kind of briefly take you through what we're going to be doing week 5 and week 6. So for those of you that want to start working ahead, it will be available to you. And obviously you'll be able to kind of work on that on a daily basis. So first week that we are in here, April 19th to the 25th, the due dates will be posted, and you'll just have to follow along with the assignments on that. So if you go in here, keep in mind on April 20th, there is no school, but it is still a distance learning day for you. So one of the things that you are going to want to do is make sure that you still do these day 2 assignments, because on Tuesday, when you're not there for distance learning or for regular learning, you still are required to do your assignments, and that is an attendance day because it is ACT testing. So please make sure that you know to do that. So in this first week here, first day, you're going to do a little vocab, World War II, and a quiz. This is a formative quiz. It'll be open kind of in the old way where you get 2 opportunities to do it. The second day, we're going to look at the Holocaust. So you're again going to have a vocabulary assignment with a quiz. And then there's a little bit of an extension on this with the idea of the guided reading assignment here on night. Now, on the Monday, when we have class, we're going to look at the summative assignment, which is an essay. And basically what you're going to be doing in here, we're going to kind of look back at the idea of writing those questions and how we've been kind of putting together the idea of the details for writing those questions. And we're going to focus on these as examples of questions that we could use to write, hopefully, our ideal type of an essay, which is with an introduction, a body, and a conclusion. Now, we'll talk a little bit more in class about how that could be focused on one of the questions. It could be several, because remember, the more subtopics we have, the better idea of an essay or a research report we'll have. So the summative will focus on these charts that we'll look at together. So some of the ideas of what this is talking about with the causes of World War II and the effects. And then we'll also get into some of the ideas as far as this presentation, which we'll play together as well. And that is going to be week 5. All right. So for week 5, again, remember, day 1 and day 2 is listed in here. And even though for, those of you who are in 3rd and 5th hour, you won't physically be in school for day 2, you still need to do these 3 assignments on day 2. The Holocaust vocabulary and this quiz are pretty short. It's not intended to take you too long. It's just going to kind of guide you through the information. Now, this is also going to talk about week 6, which is also kind of a different week because we do not have school Monday. So in this instance, everybody's going to kind of follow the same idea as far as what you need to do for day 1 and day 2. But it's going to be kind of different for those of you in 3rd and 5th. So for 3rd and 5th, we'll only really be in class that Tuesday, but instead of kind of doing what we would normally do for Friday, where you'd have this kind of distance learning day, the day 2 will be Friday. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in class. So the idea of kind of going through this is going to be a little bit different. For those of you in 6 hour, day 1 on Wednesday, we'll just go through this. And actually, this will be something that will be due Friday. And then the day 2 on Thursday, we'll talk about these day 2 assignments. And then this summative will be due also on Friday. So all you're doing for this is we're going to go through and do a little presentation about how we mobilize for war. There's some documents that are included with this and some questions that we're going to answer. This is a pretty self-explanatory assignment. It's not that easy. It's just to kind of give you some background information on how World War II started. And then there's 2 different quizzes, all right? Both of these are going to be formative quizzes. They're going to be pretty straightforward, just kind of going through and testing on what you know about that. And then they will not be summative. So neither of these will be summative. They're just formative quizzes for you to go in and read and get some information, and you can take them multiple times. The summative is going to be kind of an interactive assignment that we'll actually do together in class. And we'll be reading this kind of idea of the point counterpoint. And so this will be kind of an example of trying to go into that idea of getting the ideas of writing and explaining things in more detail. And this is going to be just a straightforward paragraph that you're going to have to respond to in discussion format. The day 2 assignment you'll do either on your own or together in class on the 1950s. And we'll do a similar thing again. We'll have questions that you're going to answer and write in a more historical way of paragraph response with an intro, body, and conclusion. So here we're playing again with that idea of, the paragraph versus multiple paragraphs and the idea of having subtopics, and that even in one paragraph, you can write a very good detailed answer as long as you say, for example, in that paragraph are answering 3 questions rather than just responding 1. And there are links down here that will help you understand and read that. And we'll talk a little bit about those too. So for these 2 weeks, there's 3 summatives, all right? And so the idea here is that if you are in distance learning, you're more than welcome to kind of work ahead. The due dates for all these will be set. And all you really have to do is kind of keep working on it and make it work for you. If you have any questions, obviously reach out to me online, and please make sure that you're taking your time and doing what you can to get these things done. And then remember that for due dates, that's just more to pace yourself. If you get a little bit behind and you still want to get these things done, they still are going to be accessible. They're no longer any more of the summative quizzes like we used to do when we were kind of getting back into the distance learning. Those are all formative. They're all open all the time. And actually for these 2 weeks, all the summatives will be open because they're all just writing summatives. So there's really nothing that you can do to kind of prevent getting in and or out of it. But remember, as you're working through this and you're getting things done, you'll be pretty good. And just pay attention to the dates and the days that we have school and don't.